Velketh stared at the red numbers on his screen. 3 ships lost, 15 crew members dead, insurance payments that would bankrupt his company within a month. The 4-armed Zentari rubbed his face with 2 hands while the other 2 typed frantically at his keyboard. Nothing helped. The numbers stayed red. The door to his office slid open. Thros walked in, his scales clicking against the metal floor. The reptilian partner looked even more worried than usual. The Calrix pirates hit another convoy, Thros said. His voice was quiet. The Meridian was carrying pharmaceutical supplies. All lost, Velketh slumped in his chair. The Galactic Freight Corporation had been his dream. 20 years of careful planning, safe routes, reliable deliveries. Now it was all falling apart. The Calrix Nebula pirates had become too bold. They knew the shipping schedules. They knew the routes. Every ship that tried to pass through their territory was either robbed or destroyed. We have the Talvos colony contract, Thros continued. Medical supplies. They need it within 72 hours or the plague will kill thousands. But no crew will take the job. The route goes straight through Calrix territory. Cancel it, Velketh said. The words tasted bitter. We cannot afford to lose another ship. If we cancel, we lose the contract, and probably 15 other clients who are watching to see if we are reliable. Velketh wanted to throw something. Instead, he just closed his eyes. His company was dying. There was no way out. The door chimed again. Velketh did not bother to look up. Go away. We are closed. I heard you have a job that nobody wants, a voice said. The voice spoke Galactic Common with a strange accent. Those are usually the best-paying jobs. Velketh opened his eyes. A creature stood in his doorway. It was tall, about 2 meters, with only 2 arms and 2 legs. Its skin was brown and smooth, with no scales or fur. Black hair grew from its head. The creature wore a simple flight jacket and smiled with flat white teeth. What are you? Thros asked, moving back toward the wall. Human, the creature said. Name is Marcus Chen. I represent a crew of 6. We are looking for work. Velketh felt his blood turn cold. A human. He had heard stories about humans. They came from a planet called Earth, a death world where everything tried to kill everything else. The gravity was crushing. The weather was violent. The predators were nightmares. And somehow humans had survived it all. You want to work in freight? Velketh asked carefully. We want to work anywhere that pays, Marcus said. He walked into the office without being invited. His movements were smooth and confident. We heard you have a delivery that nobody else will take. Something about pirates? The route is suicide, Thros said quickly. 3 ships lost in 2 months. Calrix pirates control the entire nebula. They have warship, scanning technology, and they take no prisoners. Marcus nodded slowly. What is the pay? Velketh could not believe what he was hearing. You cannot be serious. Did you not hear what Thros said? Suicide. Certain death. I heard him, Marcus said. What is the pay? Standard freight rates, Velketh said. 40,000 credits. But you will not live to spend it. We will take the job, Marcus said immediately. Thros made a choking sound. You actually want to fly through Calrix territory? With pirates who have destroyed every ship that tried? Sounds exciting, Marcus said with that strange smile. When do we leave? Velketh studied the human. The creature seemed calm, too calm. Either humans were incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Probably stupid, but Velketh had no other options. The Talvos colony needed those supplies. His company needed this contract, and this human was offering to do the impossible. You understand the risks? Velketh asked. This is not a game. You will probably die. Everybody dies eventually, Marcus said. Might as well get paid for it. Do we have a deal? Velketh looked at Thros. Thros looked terrified. But what choice did they have? Let the contract fail and watch their company collapse? Or give this crazy human a chance? Deal, Velketh said. He extended one hand. Marcus gripped it firmly. The human's hand was warm and strong. Good, Marcus said. Show me the ship and the cargo. We launch in 3 hours. 3 hours later, Velketh stood in the cargo bay and watched 6 humans prepare for departure. They moved with quick efficiency, checking systems, loading cargo, and talking to each other in their strange Earth language. They seemed excited, not nervous, not afraid, excited. The other station workers watched from a distance. A group of Vratics were taking bets on how long the humans would survive. Most bets were under 6 hours. This is insane, Thros whispered. We just sent 6 beings to their deaths. They volunteered, Velketh said. But he felt sick anyway. One of the humans, a female with red hair, was laughing as she loaded a box that probably weighed more than she did. Another human, heavily muscled with dark skin, was doing exercises that looked painful. They were not acting like people about to die. Marcus walked over to Velketh. "We are ready. Cargo is loaded. Ship systems are good. We will have your delivery to Talvos in under 72 hours. If you survive the first 12 hours, I will be surprised," Velketh said honestly. Marcus grinned. "Humans are good at surviving. It is kind of our thing. The Calrix pirates are ruthless," Velketh warned. "They will not negotiate. They will not show mercy." "Good," Marcus said. "Neither will we." The human crew boarded their ship. It was called the Tenacity, a medium-sized cargo vessel with decent shields but no weapons. Standard civilian ship. Nothing special. Against Calrix warships, it would be like paper against knives. Velketh watched from the control room as the Tenacity powered up. The engines glowed blue. The ship lifted smoothly from the dock and turned toward the bay doors. "Tenacity, you are cleared for departure," the station controller said. "May fortune follow you." "Fortune has nothing to do with it." Marcus's voice came over the comm. "Skill and stubbornness. That is the human way. See you in 3 days." The Tenacity accelerated out of the station and into the black of space. Within minutes it was gone, jumping to hyperspace toward the Calrix Nebula. Thros stood next to Velketh. "They are going to die." "Probably," Velketh agreed. "Then why did we send them?" Velketh was quiet for a moment. "Because they were willing to try, and because we had no other choice. Sometimes you have to bet on the crazy option." "Betting on humans," Thros said slowly. "That is not just crazy. That is insanity." Down in the cargo bay, the Vratics were laughing and collecting their bets. The consensus was clear. The humans would be dead within 8 hours. Probably less. Velketh returned to his office. He pulled up the tracking data for the Tenacity. The small dot moved across his screen, heading deeper into dangerous space. He wanted to believe the humans would succeed. But belief did not change reality. The Calrix Nebula had killed everyone who entered it. He opened a bottle of Zentari wine and poured a glass. Then he raised it toward the screen. "To crazy humans," he said quietly. "May you prove everyone wrong." The dot on the screen kept moving. Velketh watched it until it disappeared into the nebula's interference. Then there was nothing but static and waiting. The humans were gone. Now it was just a question of whether they would come back. The monitoring room at the station was quiet. Velketh sat in front of 6 screens watching the data feeds from the Tenacity. Thros paced back and forth behind him. Neither had slept in 12 hours. "They entered the nebula 4 hours ago," Thros said. "Why have they not called for help yet?" "Maybe they are already dead," Velketh said quietly. The screen showed basic telemetry. The Tenacity was moving fast through the nebula, faster than recommended safety speeds. The ship's interior temperature was set to 30 degrees. That was hot enough to cook most species. But the human life signs showed normal. Comfortable, even. "Are they insane?" Thros pointed at the temperature reading. "How can they function in that heat?" "Earth is a hot planet," Velketh said. "Maybe they like it." A sound came from the speakers. Music. Loud, rhythmic music with heavy beats and human voices singing in their language. The monitoring equipment showed the humans were moving around the ship. One was running on an exercise machine. Another was lifting heavy weights. "They are exercising," Thros said in disbelief. "In the middle of a dangerous mission, they are exercising?" Velketh could not explain it. Every other species would be at their stations, alert and nervous. The humans acted like they were on vacation. Suddenly, alarms blared. Velketh jumped forward in his seat. 3 ships. Calrix signatures. They found the Tenacity. "It is over," Thros whispered. The screen showed 3 Calrix pirate vessels moving to intercept. They were armed warships, each one twice the size of the Tenacity. This was how the other ships had died. Surrounded, overwhelmed, destroyed. Velketh opened the comm channel. "Tenacity, you have 3 hostile vessels approaching. Recommend immediate retreat." Marcus's voice came back calm. "We see them." "No problem. No problem," Velketh shouted. "Those are warships. You need to run." "We do not run," Marcus said. The music in the background got louder. "Sarah, what is our acceleration capacity?" "We can pull 9 Gs if we push it," a female voice answered. "Do it. Everyone strap in. This is going to be fun. Fun? Velketh watched in horror as the Tenacity did not turn away from the pirates. It turned toward them. The cargo ship accelerated directly at the three warships. What are they doing? Thros pressed against the screen. They are attacking? With a cargo ship? The pirates seemed confused too. Their formations broke as they tried to figure out what the crazy cargo ship was doing. The Tenacity accelerated harder. The life sign monitor showed the humans were experiencing 8 gravities of force. That would crush most species' organs, break bones, cause internal bleeding. The humans were laughing. Hard left, Marcus shouted. The Tenacity spun sideways at full acceleration. The ship passed between 2 pirate vessels with less than 50 meters clearance. The pirates tried to track it, but the Tenacity was moving too fast, too unpredictably. Deploy mining drones, Marcus ordered. Mining drones? Velketh watched as 12 small drones launched from the Tenacity's cargo bay. They were standard industrial drones, meant for asteroid mining. Not weapons, but the humans had modified them. The drones scattered in all directions. Then they exploded. Not big explosions. Small, precise bursts that sent shrapnel in every direction. One pirate ship's sensors went dark. Another took damage to its engines. The third tried to fire, but the Tenacity was already gone, spinning away in a direction that should have torn the ship apart. How are they surviving those forces? Thros asked. Human physiology, Velketh said, remembering what he had read. Their bodies evolved for endurance. Their blood carries oxygen efficiently. Their bones are dense. They can handle acceleration that would kill us. The battle continued for 30 minutes. It was like watching a small fish fight 3 sharks, except the fish was crazy and the sharks could not catch it. The Tenacity moved in ways that violated every safety protocol. Sharp turns, sudden accelerations, spinning maneuvers that made Velketh dizzy just watching. The humans kept laughing and shouting to each other. The music never stopped. Finally, 2 pirate ships broke off and retreated. They had taken too much damage and could not catch the impossible cargo ship. The third ship tried one more attack run. Marcus's voice came over the comm. Carlos, can you hack their targeting system? Already done, Captain, another human voice answered. They are locked onto a chunk of ice about 20 kilometers away. Perfect. Let them waste their ammunition. The pirate ship fired everything it had at empty space. When it realized the mistake, it was too late. The Tenacity was already accelerating away at speeds that should not be possible. Tenacity to station, Marcus said cheerfully. Encountered some local traffic. Everything handled. Continuing to Talvos, Velketh could not speak. His throat was dry. His hands were shaking. You disabled 2 pirate ships, Thros finally said, with mining drones and crazy flying. It worked, did it not? Marcus laughed. Earth has a saying, if you are going through hell, keep going. This was barely hell. This was just a warm-up. A warm-up? Velketh repeated weakly. Sure. Real trouble would be 6 pirate ships, or a black hole, or something interesting like that. These guys were amateurs. See you at Talvos, boss. The comm clicked off. The music faded. The Tenacity continued through the nebula at its insane speed. Velketh and Thros sat in silence for a long moment. Then Thros started laughing. It was a slightly hysterical laugh. They won, Thros said. The crazy humans won. They did not just win, Velketh said slowly. They enjoyed it. Did you hear them? They were having fun. What kind of species has fun fighting pirates? Humans, Velketh said. He was starting to understand. They are not like us. We evolved to avoid danger. They evolved to face it, maybe even to like it. The next 2 days passed in a blur. The Tenacity made incredible time through the nebula. It avoided 2 more pirate encounters and navigated through an asteroid field that was marked as impassable on the charts. The humans simply flew through it at high speed, dodging rocks that would have destroyed most ships. 54 hours after leaving the station, the Tenacity arrived at Talvos Colony. The cargo was intact. The ship was scratched and dented but functional. The humans were tired but cheerful. Delivery complete, Marcus reported. Medical supplies transferred to Talvos Medical Center. They say thanks. We are heading back to the station now. You are 18 hours ahead of schedule, Velketh said. He still could not believe it. We could have done it faster, Marcus said, but we stopped for sleep. Humans need about 7 hours of sleep per day. It slows us down. They apologized for sleeping. These creatures apologized for biological necessity. Velketh did not know whether to laugh or cry. When the Tenacity docked back at the station 3 days later, a crowd had gathered. Word had spread fast. The impossible delivery. The cargo ship that fought pirates and won. The humans who laughed at danger. Velketh and Thros met the crew on the dock. The 6 humans looked tired but satisfied. They carried their bags and walked with easy confidence. Payment transfer complete, Velketh said. 40,000 credits to your account, plus a bonus of 10,000 for early delivery. Generous, Marcus said, shaking Velketh's hand. When do we leave for the next job? Next job? Velketh blinked. Sure. You have more dangerous deliveries, right? That is why you hired us. We are good at dangerous. Velketh looked at Thros. Thros looked at the humans. Then they both started laughing. Yes, Velketh said. I think we have more jobs for you. Many more jobs? Perfect, Marcus grinned. Just keep them interesting. We did not come to space to be bored. As the humans walked away toward their temporary quarters, Velketh heard the Vratics who had taken bets arguing about payment. Most had bet against the humans. Most had lost money. You actually hired humans, Thros said quietly. Everyone said it was insanity. It was insanity, Velketh agreed. But sometimes insanity works. News traveled fast in the galaxy. Within a week, every freight company, every cargo pilot, and every insurance agent knew about the humans who had survived the Calrix Nebula. Most did not believe it. Some called it luck. Others called it exaggeration. Velketh did not care what they called it. He knew the truth. And he knew opportunity when he saw it. 17 new contracts, he told Thros, spreading data pads across his desk. All routes that were considered too dangerous. All offering premium rates. Everyone wants to see if the humans can do it again. Can they? Thros asked. I think they can do anything, Velketh said. The question is whether we are brave enough to let them try. The Galactic Safety Council did not share his enthusiasm. They sent an official complaint. The human crew had violated 47 safety regulations. Their acceleration rates were dangerous. Their temperature preferences were unsafe. Their music was too loud. They wanted the humans grounded and investigated. Velketh filed the complaint in his trash folder. Other companies started hiring human crews. A shipping corporation called Vex Transport brought in a team of 4 humans for their most difficult routes. A mining company hired humans for salvage operations in unstable asteroid fields. Even a passenger line was considering human pilots for their emergency response teams. The second test came 2 weeks later. A client needed equipment transported through a gravity well near a binary star system. The route required careful navigation through intense gravitational forces. Standard procedure said the trip would take 14 days. The pay was huge because of the danger. Vex Transport sent their best crew, a team of careful Vratics who had 30 years of experience. They plotted a safe course that followed every regulation. Velketh sent Marcus and his human crew. He did not tell them to be careful. He just told them the destination and the deadline. The Vratic ship arrived in 14 days, exactly on schedule. The human ship arrived in 8 days. They had used something called a gravity slingshot, using the binary star's pull to accelerate instead of avoiding it. The Vratic's captain filed a formal protest. The humans are reckless. They risk their lives and their cargo for speed. This is not professional behavior. Marcus's response was short. We delivered on time and intact. That is the definition of professional. The debate spread across communication networks. Some species agreed with the Vratics. Safety first. Regulations exist for good reasons. The humans were dangerous cowboys who would eventually fail spectacularly. Others pointed to the results. Fast deliveries. Completed contracts. Routes that had been impossible were now possible. Maybe the galaxy needed a little recklessness. Velketh assigned Thros to travel with the human crew on their next mission. Document everything, he told his partner. I need to understand how they do it. What makes them different? Thros did not want to go. He was terrified of the humans and their crazy methods. But he was also curious, so he boarded the Tenacity for a cargo run to the outer rim. The first thing Thros noticed was the temperature, 32 degrees. He was sweating within minutes. The humans wore light clothing and seemed perfectly comfortable. You get used to it, Sarah, the red-haired engineer told him. She was eating something she called coffee ice cream, in the heat. Want some? Thros declined. His species could not process Earth foods. Most alien species could not. Human food was too spicy, too acidic, too everything. The second thing Thros noticed was the noise. The humans were always talking, laughing, or playing music. They told jokes. They argued about something called sports. They never seemed to stop moving or making sound. Do humans ever have silence? Thros asked Marcus on the second day. Sure, Marcus said, when we sleep. But who wants silence? Silence is boring. The mission itself was routine by human standards. They navigated through a debris field that most ships avoided. They outran a solar flare that would have fried most vessels' electronics. They fixed a critical engine problem while in flight, with Sarah hanging outside the ship in a suit repairing systems with a plasma torch. Is this not incredibly dangerous? Thros asked, watching Sarah work in the vacuum of space. Not really, Carlos said. He was monitoring Sarah's suit systems. She has done this 100 times. She is good at it. What if something goes wrong? Then we fix it, Carlos shrugged. Problems happen. You deal with them. Panicking does not help. That was when Thros started to understand. Humans did not see danger the same way other species did. For most beings, danger meant fear, caution, avoidance. For humans, danger meant problem-solving, adaptation, action. On the fourth day, Thros asked Marcus about Earth. What was your planet like? Marcus thought for a moment. Dangerous, beautiful, challenging. We had predators that could eat us, weather that could kill us, diseases that wiped out entire populations. But we survived all of it. We learned to make tools, to work together, to be tougher than our problems. And now you come to space and do the same thing, Thros said slowly. Exactly. Marcus smiled. Space is just Earth with different problems. Bigger problems. But problems are problems. You face them, you solve them, you move on. What if you cannot solve them? Then you try harder, Marcus said simply. Humans do not give up easy. It is not in our nature. When they returned to the station, Thros filed his report. He wrote about the humans' adaptation abilities, their problem-solving mindset, their complete lack of normal fear responses, and most importantly, their attitude toward challenges. They are not insane, Thros wrote. They are adapted for insanity. Their entire species evolved to run toward threats, not away from them. They see obstacles as opportunities. They view danger as exciting rather than paralyzing. This is not recklessness. This is a completely different survival strategy. The report went to every major freight company in the sector. Some dismissed it. Others read it carefully. A few started recruiting human crews aggressively. 3 months after the first Calrix Nebula run, the Galactic Freight Corporation was the most successful shipping company in 5 systems. Their human crews had completed 47 missions with a perfect delivery record. Other companies with human crews were seeing similar results, but not everyone was happy. The Galactic Safety Council held meetings. Insurance companies argued about how to rate human crews. Traditional pilots worried about losing jobs to these aggressive newcomers. Then came the call that changed everything. Velketh was in his office when the emergency channel activated. A mechanical voice filled the room. Distress signal from passenger liner Serenity's Promise. 3,000 passengers. Multiple species. Ship in decaying orbit around gas giant Helios 7. Requesting immediate rescue assistance. Velketh pulled up the data. His blood went cold. Helios 7 was a nightmare. Massive radiation belts. Crushing gravity. Violent atmospheric storms. The passenger liner had 4 hours before it entered the atmosphere and was crushed. The call went out to every ship in range. 15 vessels were close enough to help. One by one, their responses came back. Radiation levels too high. Cannot approach. Gravitational shear would destroy our ship. This is a suicide mission. We cannot help. All 15 ships refused. Velketh understood why. This was not just dangerous. This was certain death. No ship could survive entering Helios 7's radiation belt. No crew could function in that environment, except maybe one. Velketh opened a direct channel to the Tenacity. Marcus answered immediately. Boss, what is up? I have a situation, Velketh said carefully. A passenger liner with 3,000 beings is about to die. Every ship in range has refused the rescue. The radiation and gravity make it impossible. Where is it? Marcus asked. His voice was suddenly serious. Velketh sent the coordinates. There was a long silence. He could hear the humans talking in the background, discussing numbers and options. We can do it, Marcus finally said. Marcus, this is not like the other missions. This is 3,000 people, Marcus interrupted. You said 3,000 people are going to die if nobody helps them. We are going to help them. You will die too, Velketh said quietly. Maybe. Marcus agreed. But maybe not. We are pretty good at not dying. Send us the full data. We launch in 20 minutes. The channel closed. Velketh sat back in his chair. Thros stood in the doorway, having heard everything. They are going, Thros said. Yes, Velketh replied. They are going to die trying to save those people. Probably, Velketh said, but they are going to try anyway. Because that is what humans do. The Tenacity approached Helios 7 at maximum speed. Inside the ship, the 6 humans prepared for what every expert said was impossible. They wore heavy lead-lined suits that would make most species collapse from the weight. They swallowed pills that would poison anyone else but would protect human bodies from radiation. They checked and rechecked every system. 4 hours until the Serenity's promise enters the atmosphere, Marcus said, studying the data. We need 3 trips to evacuate everyone. 1,000 people per trip. That gives us about 70 minutes per rescue run. The radiation belt extends 40,000 kilometers, Sarah said. Our shields will not last long in there. Maybe 1 trip. Definitely not 3. Then we repair the shields between trips, Marcus said simply. In a radiation field? Carlos asked. In a radiation field, Marcus confirmed. Sarah, can you do it? Sarah looked at the data. She calculated numbers in her head. Then she nodded. I can do it. It will not be fun, but I can do it. Velketh watched from the station, monitoring their approach. Every safety expert in the sector was watching too. The news networks had picked up the story. 3,000 lives hanging in the balance. 1 human crew attempting the impossible. They are entering the radiation belt, Thros said quietly. The Tenacity's shields flared bright blue as radiation hammered them. The ship shuddered. Alarms sounded. The humans stayed calm. Shield strength at 70%, Carlos reported. Radiation exposure increasing. We are at 5 times lethal dose for most species. How are we doing? Marcus asked. I feel fine, Sarah said. Little warm, maybe. The other humans agreed. Their anti-radiation medication was working. For now, the Tenacity dove deeper into Helios 7's gravity well. The planet was massive, angry, covered in storms that could swallow entire moons. The passenger liner was a small dot falling toward that fury. Matching velocity, Marcus said. His hands moved across the controls with practiced ease. The gravitational forces tried to tear the ship apart. The Tenacity's hull groaned but held. I see them, Sarah said. The Serenity's promise appeared on their screens. It was huge, designed for luxury travel, not emergency situations. It tumbled slowly, its engines dead, pulled inexorably toward the gas giant. Docking will be tricky, Marcus said. Carlos, take over shields. Sarah, prepare the docking clamps. Everyone else, get ready to move passengers fast. We have 20 minutes to load 1,000 people and get out. The Tenacity approached the tumbling liner. Marcus matched its rotation, a maneuver that required perfect timing and reflexes that most species simply did not have. The ships connected with a heavy clang. Docking successful, Sarah reported. Opening airlocks. The passengers poured into the Tenacity. They were terrified, crying, holding their younglings. There were Zentari, Vradix, Quellan, and a dozen other species. They filled every available space in the cargo ship. 987, Carlos counted. That is all we can fit safely. Put 13 more in my quarters, Marcus said. And anywhere else with oxygen. We make this work. 1,000 passengers crammed into a ship designed for 6 crew and maybe 50 passengers. It was tight. It was uncomfortable. But it was alive, undocking, Marcus announced. Everyone hold on. This will be rough. The Tenacity pulled away from the dying liner and accelerated out of the gravity well. The shields, weakened by radiation, flickered. Warnings flashed across every screen. Shields at 40%, Carlos reported. Hull temperature critical. We just need to make it to safe distance, Marcus said through gritted teeth. He was pulling hard G-forces, pushing the ship to its limits. Behind them, the passengers screamed. Most species could not handle this acceleration. But the alternative was death. The Tenacity burst out of the radiation belt. The shields dropped to 38% but held. They reached the safety zone and slowed down. Transfer shuttle incoming, Sarah said. A hospital ship was waiting. They had volunteered to take the passengers and provide medical care. The first 1,000 passengers transferred to the hospital ship. Many were sick from the acceleration and radiation exposure, but all were alive. 2 trips to go, Marcus said. Sarah, how bad are the shields? Sarah checked the systems. Her face was grim. We cannot make 2 more trips. 1 more, maybe. The shields are failing. The hull has 7 breaches. The engines are overheating. Can you fix it? Marcus asked. In a station with proper equipment over 3 days? Yes, out here in 90 minutes? No way. Marcus looked at his crew. 5 tired, radiation-sick humans stared back. They all knew what he was going to say. We fix what we can and go back in, Marcus said. 2,000 people are still on that liner. Marcus, Carlos said carefully. If we go back in with damaged shields, we will die. The radiation will kill us before we complete the second trip. Then we better work fast, Marcus said. Sarah, what is the minimum repair to get us through 1 more trip? Sarah pulled up schematics. If I reinforce the forward shields and bypass 3 damaged generators, we might survive long enough. But someone needs to do external repairs. In the radiation belt. While flying. You did that before, Marcus said. That was different. That was normal space. This is hell. Can you do it? Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. I can do it. But Marcus, if I die doing this, you will not die, Marcus said firmly. I will not let you. We do this together. We all come home. The Tenacity turned back toward Helios 7. Velketh watched in disbelief. They are going back. Thras whispered. Their ship is falling apart and they are going back. Because 2,000 people need them, Velketh said. He felt pride and terror in equal measure. The second trip was worse. The shields failed twice. Sarah worked outside in her suit, welding and rerouting power while Carlos kept her alive by managing the radiation levels. The ship shook so hard that passengers were injured. The humans pushed through pain, exhaustion, and radiation sickness that would have killed most species already. They rescued another 1,000 passengers. The shields dropped to 12%. The hull breaches increased to 15%. Half the ship's systems were offline. 1 more trip, Marcus said. His voice was weak now. The radiation was affecting him. All the humans were showing symptoms. We cannot make another trip, Carlos said flatly. Look at the data, Marcus. The shields will fail completely. The engines will die. We will be trapped in the radiation belt. 1,000 people, Marcus said. We leave them? The crew was silent. They were exhausted, sick, possibly dying already from radiation exposure. Every logical thought said to stop. To save themselves. To accept that they had done enough. But they were human. We go back, Sarah said finally. We do not leave people behind. That is the rule, the others nodded. 1 by 1 they agreed. They would make the 3rd trip. Even if it killed them, the Tenacity limped back into hell 1 more time. The shields were barely functioning. The ship was more holes than hull. The humans were running on willpower and stubbornness. They reached the Serenity's promise. It was breaking apart now, pieces tearing off as the gravity pulled it down. They had maybe 10 minutes before it was completely destroyed. Fast as possible, Marcus said. Everyone move. This is the last trip. The final 1,000 passengers rushed aboard. The ship was beyond overcrowded now. People stood in hallways and engineering spaces anywhere with air to breathe. Go, Sarah shouted. Everyone is aboard, go now! Marcus pushed the engines past their limits. The Tenacity screamed in protest. Metal tore. Bulkheads collapsed. The shields died completely. Raw radiation poured into the ship, but the Tenacity kept moving. Broken, dying, held together by human determination and nothing else. It clawed its way out of Helios 7's gravity well while everyone watching held their breath. The ship burst into safe space. The engines died. The life support failed. Emergency power kicked in, barely, but they were out. They were alive. All 3,000 passengers, and 6 very sick but very alive humans. Rescue ships incoming, Carlos managed to say before he passed out. The transfer was chaos. Medical ships swarmed the dying Tenacity, pulling passengers and crew to safety. The humans were rushed to emergency treatment, suffering from radiation poisoning, exhaustion, and injuries. Velketh watched it all from his station. He could not speak, could not move. He just watched as the impossible happened. 3,000 lives saved, 6 humans who refused to give up. They did it, Thras said, tears running down his scales. Those crazy humans actually did it. The medical bay on Station Kepler was full of activity. Doctors from 6 different species worked to treat the human crew. Radiation poisoning was not usually survivable. Most species would have died within hours of the exposure the humans had endured. But humans were different. Their bodies fought back. They healed in ways that amazed the medical staff. Marcus woke up 3 days after the rescue. His body hurt everywhere. His skin was damaged. His blood counts were terrible. But he was alive. All 6 crew members had survived. The first thing he saw was a crowd of beings outside the medical bay window. Hundreds of them. Centauri, Vradix, Quellen, and more. They were waiting. When they saw Marcus sit up, they started cheering. "What is happening?" Marcus asked the nurse, a kind Centauri named Pella. "They are the passengers you saved," Pella said softly. "And their families. They have been here since you arrived. All of them wanted to thank you." Marcus felt uncomfortable. "We just did our job." "No," Pella said firmly. "You did something no one else would do. You flew into death to save strangers. That is not just a job. That is heroism." The news of the rescue spread across every system, every planet, every station in known space. The Galactic News Network played the footage constantly. The tenacity entering the radiation belt, the 3 trips into hell, the impossible rescue, and most importantly, the 6 humans who refused to quit. Velketh visited the medical bay on the 4th day. Marcus was sitting up now, eating terrible hospital food and complaining about it. "Boss," Marcus smiled when he saw Velketh. "How is the tenacity?" "Destroyed," Velketh said honestly. "It cannot be repaired. You pushed that ship beyond anything it was designed for. It gave its life saving those people." "Good ship," Marcus said quietly. "We will miss it." "I am having a new ship built," Velketh said. "Bigger, stronger, better shields. It will be ready in 3 months. When you are healed, it is yours." "What is the catch?" Marcus asked. "No catch. You are the best crew I have. The best crew anyone has. Every shipping company in the galaxy wants to hire you. But you work for me, so I take care of you." Marcus grinned. "Smart business, boss. I accept." The impact of the rescue went far beyond one dramatic event. Applications from human crews flooded every freight company, mining operation, and transport service in the galaxy. Earth sent more volunteers eager to work in space. Former military pilots, search and rescue experts, scientists, engineers, even some humans who just wanted adventure. The Galactic Safety Council held an emergency meeting. They could no longer ignore or criticize the humans. The rescue had proven something important. Sometimes rules needed to be broken. Sometimes safety regulations were less important than saving lives. Sometimes the galaxy needed beings who would take insane risks for the right reasons. They revised their safety guidelines to accommodate human crews. Special certifications, different standards, recognition that humans operated differently but effectively. Universities across the galaxy started new courses studying human psychology, physiology, and culture. What made humans willing to take such risks? How did they survive conditions that killed other species? Why did they run toward danger instead of away? The answer was always the same: evolution. Earth had shaped humans into survivors who faced challenges directly. A species that saw problems as opportunities. A people who refused to give up no matter how bad things looked. 6 weeks after the rescue, Marcus and his crew were cleared to leave medical care. They were not fully healed. The radiation had done permanent damage, but they were alive and functional. That was enough. A ceremony was held in the main station plaza. 3,000 beings attended. The passengers they had saved, station workers, other freight crews, news reporters from every major network. A Centauri official presented each human with the Galactic Medal of Valor, the highest honor that could be given. Marcus accepted his medal with an embarrassed shrug. "We are not heroes," he said into the microphone. "We are just freight pilots who did what needed to be done. Anyone else would have done the same." "No," the official said. Anyone else refused. Every ship in range said it was impossible. Only you believed you could do it. Only you tried. Marcus looked at his crew. Sarah, Carlos, and the others stood beside him, uncomfortable with the attention but proud of what they had accomplished. "Earth taught us something," Marcus said slowly. "Our planet was harsh, dangerous, everything tried to kill us. We survived by being stubborn, by refusing to accept impossible, by believing that if we tried hard enough, we could overcome any obstacle. We brought that attitude to space, and space needs that attitude. Because space is hard, space is dangerous. But humans do not run from hard and dangerous. We face it, we fight it, and usually we win." The crowd erupted in cheers. For months after, that speech played on networks across the galaxy. Schools taught it, It became something of a motto for anyone facing impossible odds. If humans could survive, anyone could survive. If humans could win, anyone could win. The Galactic Freight Corporation became the most successful shipping company in the sector. Then the region. Then eventually in most of known space. They had 40 human crews now, all flying dangerous routes, completing impossible deliveries and making everything look easy. Other companies followed. Vex Transport hired 100 human crew members. Mining operations competed for human salvage experts. Even military organizations started recruiting humans for special operations. Thros became an expert on human crew management. He wrote a manual about working with humans. Key points: keep them challenged, give them hard problems. Do not expect them to follow normal safety guidelines, and always have medical supplies ready for radiation exposure. His book became required reading for any supervisor working with human employees. 2 years after that first delivery through the Calrix Nebula, Velketh sat in his expanded office. He was now regional director of the Galactic Freight Corporation, overseeing operations in 20 systems. His company value had increased 5,000%, all because he had taken a chance on one crazy human crew. An emergency message came through. Velketh recognized the format immediately. Another crisis. Another impossible situation. A colony ship with 10,000 passengers was stranded in a sector called the Graveyard. The area was full of spatial anomalies, radiation storms, and gravitational eddies. 15 rescue attempts had failed. 3 ships had been lost just trying to reach the colony ship. Every expert said the situation was hopeless. Velketh smiled. He had heard that before. He opened a direct channel to Marcus, who was on the new ship, a beautiful vessel they had named Tenacity II. "Chen here," Marcus answered. Background noise suggested the crew was playing cards. "I have a job for you," Velketh said. "Always ready, boss." "What is it?" 10,000 people stranded in the Graveyard. Everyone says rescue is impossible. 15 attempts have failed. There was a pause. Velketh could hear the humans discussing it. Then Marcus laughed. "How impossible are we talking? They call it the Graveyard for a reason. It is where ships go to die. Sounds fun. What is the pay?" "Triple standard rates, plus bonuses for every passenger returned alive." "We are in. Send the coordinates." "And boss, yes? You might want to have medical ready when we get back." "This sounds like it will be rough." "It always is with you," Velketh said. "That is why I hire you." "Because we are good at impossible things?" "Because you do not believe in impossible," Velketh corrected. "You just see challenges waiting to be solved." Marcus laughed. "Same thing, really. We launch in 1 hour. See you in a week with 10,000 new fans." The channel closed. Velketh leaned back in his chair and looked at Thros, who had been listening. "They are going to the Graveyard," Thros said. "Yes," Velketh agreed. "They might die." "They might," Velketh acknowledged, "but probably not. They are very good at not dying." "You hired humans," Thros said slowly. 2 years ago, everyone said you were insane. They said humans were too dangerous, too reckless, too unpredictable. And now?" Velketh asked. "Now everyone wants human crews. Now the impossible happens every day because humans refuse to accept impossible. Now the galaxy is a little bit smaller because humans made the dangerous routes safe, or at least survivable. So was I insane to hire them?" Thros thought about it. He thought about the Calrix Nebula, the Binary Star Run, the Helios 7 rescue, 2 years of miracles and impossible victories. Then he smiled. "You were insane," Thros said, "but it was the best kind of insanity, the kind that changes everything." Velketh watched the Tenacity II launch from the station, accelerating toward the Graveyard at speeds that would make most species sick. Inside, 6 humans prepared for another impossible rescue. They would face danger with courage. They would solve problems with stubborn determination. And they would probably succeed because that was what humans did. "You actually hired humans," Velketh said to himself, repeating the words that had started this whole adventure. "That was insanity," he smiled. "Best decision I ever made."